guys, it's Sam, and today I'm doing a book chat on if you can be too critical. So this community has changed a lot since I first joined BookTube. When I first joined BookTube was at the beginning of the talks about starting to be more critical. I feel like at the beginning, when I first started my channel, there was a lot of discussions about BookTube not being critical enough, not being critical readers, stuff like that. I did videos talking about my critical reading and how at the beginning I was even scared to post like negative reviews, because one of the first reviews I ever posted was a negative or negative-ish. It's not even negative as a 3-star, but at the time I felt like it was negative. But this has changed a lot in that now there are whole BookTube channels that are like devoted to being really critical and even bordering on the negative depending on how you feel about like critical reviews and stuff. So that is a very drastic change from when I first joined BookTube. And I overall think that this is great. I love critical reviews. As you guys know, my personal brand on YouTube is to be a little salty and have that mix of gripes and gushes and the good with the bad and being able to critically talk about things that you love. I have a ton of videos on this, which I will link sporadically throughout this video to show you what I'm talking about as far as having a little bit of both. But lately on Twitter or on some channels, I've started to see some people saying that they really aren't enjoying reading, they aren't enjoying BookTube, they aren't really enjoying talking about books, and the majority of the things they read are 1 or 2 stars. When I see that, I kind of wonder, like, maybe you just don't like reading. In my opinion, if more than, say, 30% of what you read is a 1 star, then you're probably not putting enough effort into finding things that you actually like. I don't think that everything that you read is going to be 5 stars necessarily, but if a lot of stuff that you read, if over 50% of what you read is 1 star, then you're probably not doing a good job finding the genres, the authors, the things that you like, and you're just indiscriminately picking things up or even reading things that you know you're not going to like. People do enjoy hate reading, so I'm not necessarily talking about that. I'm talking about people that are like, oh, everything I'm reading is 1 star, and I can't read for escapism or enjoyment or anything like that because everything is so bad. So again, either you're not finding the things that you like or not really putting an effort into finding things and honing in on what you like, or maybe you just don't like reading. And if you don't like reading, that's actually fine. Like, I know on BookTube we're all like, reading is the best thing because we really like reading, but there's plenty of people that don't like reading. There's plenty of people that don't like video games, there's plenty of people that don't like cooking, there's plenty of people that don't like running, there's plenty of people that don't like a lot of hobbies. And just because you maybe started a BookTube channel because you wanted to get into reading or whatever, if you've discovered that like most of what you read is 1 or 2 stars, then my friend, I think you don't like reading. After you've been reading for a while, you discover the genres and the authors that you like. For example, you will know from my channel that I read mostly fantasy because I know that I like fantasy. I'm more likely to rate fantasy higher because I know that I like it. If I'm rating a fantasy really low, it means that I truly, truly dislike it. I don't just dislike fantasy as a genre. Obviously, I just dislike this fantasy book, and I'll be able to tell you specifically why. I do try to branch out still. I'm not saying that you should just stick to only what you know and just for enjoyment. No, you should obviously still try to like broaden your horizons, because within those genres you will probably be able to find something. But generally, if everything that you read upsets you, you don't like, it's 1 or 2 stars, you probably don't like reading. You just don't. And if you're a reviewer or you have a channel or whatever, disliking everything, or most of what you read, is just as bad as the complaints that people have about booktubers that only give 5 stars to everything. It's the same thing. If you only give everything 1 star, or DNF everything or whatever, or you only give things 5 stars, it's equally hard to figure out as a consumer of your reviews if I'm going to like that thing. Because it's like, okay, that person rates everything 5 stars. So I'm not able to use their reviews myself to piece out if I'm going to like something because they like everything. Similarly, if someone dislikes everything, there's no way I'm able to be like, okay, are they disliking it for the same reasons that I would? No, because they just hate everything. Again, as someone whose brand involves a certain level of salt, I know that you need the good with the bad. You need to see my gushes and my gripes to be able to see like, oh, this is the kind of book that Sam likes, these are the kinds of things that Sam likes, and be able to piece out for yourself, I also like this thing, I don't like this thing, and be able to use my reviews responsibly to be able to pick the things that you're going to read. Because if you know that I really love angsty romance, so I'm going to rate angsty romance higher, but you hate angsty romance, then you can still use my positive reviews for your own reading enjoyment. If you love love triangles and you know that I don't really like them as much, you can still use my negative reviews to find out if you're going to like a book. See? Because you have both to work with. If you only have one or the other, no one can use your reviews for anything. So if you're able to find something in every single book that makes you rate it 1 star, I think also the rating system's a little off there. Because certain things should probably have different weights. Like a book being racist or sexist or something is very different than a like trope that you don't like. Like these things need to have a different scale to them instead of everything being like across the board it's 1 star. Or like if I see one thing I hate in a book I'm gonna DNF it. I don't see how someone can grow much as a reader. I mean, again, then those things have different weights. Like if you see something that's really offensive to you and you DNF, that's different than something that you're like, oh, I just generally don't like this thing in a book, but it's like that a side character does and like it's not that important. You see what I mean? I don't want people to use this as like, oh, negative reviewers are all lying, and no, that is not true. That is not the side that I am arguing for. I have a new side in this because I really haven't seen people talk about like this much. Like, no, negative reviewers or people that are more critical are not lying, or they're not doing it for views or whatever. But I do think there's a contingent of people that don't like reading as much as they may think that they do or that they want to. Maybe they're living for their fantasy reading self. I don't know. And again, my concern with being too critical, like overly critical, again, like you're saying, like 90% you're not enjoying it, then you're not kind of seeing that art, and books are art, is complex and it's going to have flaws. There is nothing that's going to be without flaws. So if a flaw means that a book is going to be 1 or 2 stars, then you are never going to enjoy anything that you read. Don't want anyone to use this as like, oh, see, like really problematic books should still be... No, no, no. I'm specifically talking about people that are just generally not liking the majority of what they're reading. Again, if you're not liking the majority of your reading, you need to maybe change things up a bit, start reading different things, start reading different authors, start doing booktube differently. If you're not enjoying booktube or blogging or Instagram or whatever, maybe change your platform, maybe change the people that you're following, change something up. Try audiobooks, try ebooks, try something, try a different genre. And if you've done that and you don't like reading anything, then maybe you don't like reading. And that is fine. Or maybe you're in a book slump and you just need to take a break and enjoy other things. I tweeted about this, and a lot of people were like, yeah, I take breaks from reading. I do the same thing. You guys know that I will start playing video games if I'm in a big reading slump. Like, maybe you should do that. But also, let's remain open to the fact that, like, not everyone enjoys reading as much as we all do. And if you're one of those people, that's fine. And there's plenty of other communities with other hobbies that you can enjoy. You don't necessarily, like, you don't need to read to be, like, the best person ever. But I feel like the overly critical, I hate 90% of what I read, is like either you're purposely picking things you know you're not gonna like, or maybe you just don't like reading. So comment below and let me know your thoughts, and if you think that people can be too critical or that some people just don't like reading. I don't know. Comment below and let me know your thoughts. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you on the next.